You know what I'm upset about today? Healthcare. I have spent the last few years putting off getting some dental work done because my priorities financially have been getting my son's health taken care of and court for the DV case against his father. So all the extra money, even though I'm not struggling, has gone towards my son, his tuition, his genetic testing, all that kind of stuff. I pay $400, more like closer to $500, about $250 per paycheck, for us to have medical, dental, and vision insurance through my job. And I went to the dentist today for a limited appointment because I have 2 broken teeth on the upper left side of my mouth, and one of them is a wisdom tooth. I never got my wisdom teeth taken out because they weren't growing in crooked or anything, so the dentist said it wasn't a priority. And so one of them's a wisdom tooth and the other one is a molar. And guess how much it's supposed to cost me to fix those 2 teeth with dental insurance? I'm going to show you. I am supposed to pay $1,900. They tried to schedule me for tomorrow, and I had to tell them no. Like, first of all, it doesn't work with my schedule, but 2, like, I'm supposed to be able to make a split-second decision on whether or not I can afford right now to pay $1,900 for 2 teeth. And really it's for 1 tooth, because my wisdom tooth is just getting extracted, which is about $43, which means that the other tooth is all of those costs. Am I supposed to keep suffering with broken teeth? No. So then I do what? I spend this $2,000 on this when that $2,000 can go towards my kid or other bills. I just, like, what am I supposed to do as a single mom who is literally just, and I make good money, like, I make good money. Anybody else, in any other state other than California, I would be living incredibly, I don't know what to do. It's like I pay for insurance, and that should make it where it's not as expensive. Freaking sucks.
Hello everyone, I hope you're fine wherever you are today. This is a presenter Ginger Stories, and I hope that you're fine wherever you are. Now there's something important that I want us to address. Now, Affordable Care Act is an important part of Americans' economy, because I think majority of people needs it, especially working class America. Talking about working class America, Latinos also play a big part in this. Now, people voted for a couple of reasons some times ago, and what happened. But now regrets comes when you chop the most important part of your fingers. That's what Latinos did. And it's not coincident that black people will always warn you before making these decisions, but turns out that they still make these decisions, and now regret comes from all these, right? Why are Latinos regretting after making all these decisions? 1 is high uninsurance rates. 2 is misunderstandings about Obamacare. 3 is disproportionate need for affordable healthcare. 4 is immigrant families affected. 5 is health inequalities highlighted during COVID-19. 6 is medical expansion rejections. 7 is economic hardship without ACA protections. These are the reasons to why Latino will be regretting the decision for voting against Obamacare. I want you to watch this video. I'll be back with my commentary. As usually know, this is a presenter Ginger Stories. If you're watching this video for the first time, I'll most definitely ask you to subscribe our channel, join our membership, and really get to see what we can offer you. If you wish to buy me a coffee through my Cash App account, it's on my bio. I'll most definitely appreciate, only if you are willing to do so. Now let's jump right into the video. As you know, tell me what to think about this in the comment section. Be good. Don't, everyone is sharing their opinion, so don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on the opinions that you give. Be polite, mind your comment, but again, at the same time, speak your mind, but in a polite way, right? Let's jump right into the video. I'll be back.
Disastrous policies of Joe Biden have completely destroyed the economy. I can barely afford to put food on the table. Have you been to the grocery store lately? The prices are sky high, and Trump says he's got a plan to bring all them prices down, son. Oh, what, you think the president controls the price of food at the grocery store? Like he's just got some sort of magic wand he can wave and all of a sudden everything's cheap again? Oh, he has like some magic button on his desk. He presses and all of a sudden all the prices go down. Wake up, buddy. Besides, we all know the prices rose in the first place because...
So Donald Trump just exposed how much of a liar he is during today's stunt of a press conference at the New York Stock Exchange. So first, Donald Trump admitted that he may not be able to bring down grocery prices and said it's going to be very hard for him to reduce costs, even though he promised on the campaign trail that he would lower grocery prices. Then he said he's going to give corporations and Wall Street another tax cut, reducing their tax rate from 21% to 15%, even though he promised on the campaign trail to lower taxes for all Americans. Basically, Donald Trump lied to working Americans, said he was going to lower their grocery prices and lower their taxes, but it turns out he's just going to give more tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations who rip working class Americans off every single day here in America, which is what I said he was going to do every day for the past year. Oh, well.
Hey, folks, this is another... Hey, folks, this is another video that has to do with Donald J. Trump. Surprise. People are coming in my comments and saying that they would not rise up against Donald Trump because they voted for him. Well, I'm going to disagree with that for a second. If Donald J. Trump gets into office, I don't think that he will. He's not getting in the Oval Office, okay? But we're playing the let's imagine. So if he gets in office, this is for the folks that voted for him mostly, but everybody else, you can listen in. The reason that they would turn against him is because they did not know, despite what they were thinking. So keep in mind that most of the folks that voted for him were not the ones that we were making fun of on the television and on TikTok, when they put the mic in their faces and they didn't know whether they were coming or going. 1 + 1 was 7. It wasn't them. It wasn't them. That's a small percentage of the folks that voted for Donald J. Trump. The reason that they voted for him was because of what we call YT privilege. That's the reason. They need to have that. Okay? So that's the reason that they voted for him. This is why I'm rebutting what folks are saying. Well, they won't turn against him. No, they will turn against him, and this is why. I'm gonna make this video short. I think because when they realize that this guy and his minions and his sycophants and his billionaire buddies collude to take their money, I'm talking about the people that voted for him, yeah, that's when, see, people like me, especially my beautiful black women, they're not in this fight anymore. They're done. They're done what they were supposed to do. And us brothers, we showed out too. But I'm saying we're not going to get out there and fight the way those folks are going to fight. They're going to fight to keep their Social Security, Medicare, and veteran benefits. I'll be out there for the veteran benefits and the Social Security and the Medicare. Yeah, I'll be out there, but not like those folks. You guys think that they did that whole deal on the Capitol on January 6th, 2021? No. So just keep that in mind for the folks that are saying that they're not going to do it. They wouldn't rise up. They'll rise up. They will rise up. They'll rise up because it's directly affecting them. See, they weren't thinking that them voting for him was going to affect them indirectly. Right? Not indirectly. But now it's directly going to affect them. Oh, by the way, before I get off of here, did you guys hear that Donald J. Trump say that he's not going to be able to do anything about the grocery prices? For all those folks that were concerned about the expensive eggs, that'd be y'all too, the ones that voted for him. Did you hear him say that? He said it yesterday. He's not going to be able to do anything about the grocery prices. They're gonna be where they are. He's not going to be able to lower them. So there goes that. So yeah, if he gets in office and all this stuff goes down like he's professing, yeah, they're going to rise up. They might not even need my help. Because they outnumber us. We're only like 13% of the population. I'm talking about black folk. Yeah, they're going to rise up. Believe that.
So a lot of people on social media today are learning that the reason they have health insurance today or in previous years is largely because of Obamacare. And the reason we're realizing this today, it is the 14th anniversary of Barack Obama signing the Affordable Care Act, the ACA, into law. But as those posts suggest, and as a lot of comments on my videos, especially the one I'll link here on ranking America's presidents, suggest, a lot of people don't really know what's in the ACA, like what it did, what it does, and what the outcomes of it are, and why Republicans have failed to repeal it but are still really trying. So let's talk about it. Now, first of all, any kind of healthcare reform or health insurance reform act that actually got passed in the United States was a really big deal, or as the current president called it. And that's in part because American presidents have been talking about trying to reform Americans' access to healthcare for about a century at this point. And we've seen efforts by FDR and Truman and JFK and LBJ, though he did get Medicare and Medicaid through, and Carter and Clinton all go down in flames. And many of those programs were actually opposed by the American Medical Association, the AMA, which accused these programs of being socialized medicine and lined up their troops against them and got a lot of American people very scared about these programs. But the AMA endorsed the Affordable Care Act in 2009. It was a big win, and one of the reasons they do endorse it is because this is not a super liberal program. Barack Obama moved to the right as far as Democrats were concerned on health insurance programs, and he picked up what had been the Republican plan for health insurance reform. This is not Medicare for all. This is not single payer. This is what had been the Republican alternative to those Democratic plans. Republicans like Richard Nixon, Newt Gingrich, and Mitt Romney had supported these types of plans in the past, which is one of the reasons it was really difficult for Romney to run against Obama in 2012, because he had set up an Obamacare-style system in Massachusetts that worked really well, but now he was arguing that Obamacare doesn't work and running against it. What is actually in the Affordable Care Act? I'm glad you asked. So there's 4 big things you need to know about Obamacare. First, it required proof of health insurance, or you would have to pay a tax penalty, and this is called the individual mandate. It mandates that all individuals have health insurance. Does what it says on the tin. It also says that insurance companies can't really charge sick people more than they would charge a healthy person, and that is basically how insurance companies had worked. They would raise prices really high for people who were disabled or sick or high risk, and then that would keep them out of these insurance plans, and that would keep prices low for all these healthy people, and that's how they made money. Now, the idea of Obamacare is the opposite. Instead of kicking those sick people out, we're going to keep all the healthy people in, and the idea is this would keep insurance companies from going through that whole death spiral where they would just collapse. Now, the Affordable Care Act increased Americans' access to health insurance in 3 different ways. Follow me to part.
So for all the geniuses that voted for Donald Trump because you believed him when he said he was going to bring down prices at the grocery store, he's already walking that back. And these same geniuses, they'll never blame Donald Trump. How can we live in a democracy when we let the Republicans spend billions of dollars on a disinformation ecosystem from Fox News down to all these podcast bros and websites that just lie and distort the truth 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? How can we call this a democracy when we let Elon Musk spend $250 million to purchase the White House? And now he's promising to spend millions more primarying any Republican that votes no on any of Trump's cabinet choices. Spoiler alert, we don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy. Our country has been bought and paid for by the super wealthy elite billionaires, and we all just work here now. So hey, great job, everybody. Great job. Way to go.
That before Obamacare, insurance companies used to be able to say, hey, that person can't have coverage.
One of the things I will always hark on is just how many lives President Obama saved with the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. I don't think a lot of people realize just how bad insurance companies were prior to the Affordable Care Act. Like she mentioned, pre-existing conditions, you can have anemia and the insurance companies could be like, I don't think so. Like we talk about like this epidemic with obesity. That could be another reason why they say, you know what, I'm not going to insure you. Like, I don't think people realize just how bad the insurance companies were before President Obama and the Affordable Care Act said, like, y'all need to get that together.
So, just like we told you they would, but you failed to listen, Vivek and Elon are coming for your Social Security and your Medicare, and they're coming in hot. Not only have you fucked yourselves and the rest of us, if you have elderly parents and you live in a state with filial responsibility laws, you're going to get to pay for them too. So good on you and have the day you deserve.
Hey, Peppo Pancakes back at you to share my unfiltered and raw opinion. So, let's talk Project 2025 and fascism. December 12th, the Supreme Court of the United States changed the immigration policies. And now, DHS has the ability to revoke anyone's visa without cause and detain them. This will directly violate people's 4th and 14th Amendments. Because now if you're not American enough, without just cause, you can be detained. You better have your papers ready. Papers, please. Does this sound familiar? So yeah, mass deportation apparently looks like it is going to be real. So I would definitely also believe Donald Trump when he talks about invoking martial law, and the Alien Enemies Sedition Act. I don't think he's bluffing. So yeah, it seems Project 2025 is very real. The Supreme Court is helping make it real and has granted him immunity. We no longer have a president. We have an incoming CEO of the United States. Really let this all sink in. 4th and 14th Amendments. You had better have your papers. I hope you have your passport. So that means anybody who's probably brown, if you're not a white Christian American, you're going to be harassed. History has saw this before. So be ready, be vigilant, and decide what side of the history here you want to be on. Because this is real, man. Supreme Court, well, go ahead, Google Supreme Court just made that decision. DHS can now revoke without cause anybody, even if you're here legally, following the rules, did all the paperwork, minding your own business, you can be detained and have your visa revoked and deported. And there's no judicial oversight of what this ruling implies. Yeah. Red pill versus blue pill, corporate communism, big brother, papers, please, 1938, indeed. My goodness. Are we American anymore?
I have never been more serious in my entire life. If Trump gets in that White House, in that Oval Office, I don't want to hear any news. I don't want to see his face. I don't want to hear his voice. Ever. Nothing. I'm going to hear this on TikTok and on other social medias platforms. But I don't want to hear him, see him. Nothing. I have left enough videos on here so that the Blue Hearts can see and hear, and I'm sure you know already, the kind of person that he is. And that's all I have to say. I'm done.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I know you might be asking yourself, why did Latino vote against their own will? Why did they vote for problems? Because it turns out that not making some decisions comes with an effect, right? So I tried to find out reasons as to why this happened, and is one, we have high uninsurance rate. Before Obamacare, Latinos had one of the highest rates of being uninsured in the USA. Many relied on expensive out-of-pocket medical care or went without care altogether. Obamacare significantly reduced the uninsurance rate for Latinos, providing subsidies and Medicaid expansion. Opposing the ACA meant voting against a system that they directly benefited, and also many communities, leaving some to later realize its value. Yes, people are getting to understand the value of Obamacare after it's gone. And now you're realizing this is gone when it's already late, right? Now, the second thing is misunderstandings about Obamacare. Some Latinos may have been influenced by misinformation or ideological arguments about the ACA, such as claims it will lead to government overreach or increased taxes. Upon seeing the tangible benefits, one is lower premiums, pre-existing conditions coverage. They might recognize the policy was more beneficial than initially portrayed. But black people told you this. You did realize, you did learn about this, but now what happened has already happened. What can we do about it? I think these are one of the lessons that people gotta learn so hardly. But at the end of the day, they learned their lesson. Somebody also said that, not somebody, but the third point is disproportionate need for affordable healthcare. Now, Latinos often work in industries that do not provide employer-based healthcare, such as agriculture, construction, and service jobs. They are also more likely to experience chronic diseases such as diabetes or high blood pressure when the ACA was dismantled or not fully supported, many realized the lack of affordable options disproportionately affected their communities. Because all Obamacare ever did, it cared about where you work, the conditions where you work, but you showed it the middle finger, right? And now you realize when it's too late that, this is what I've lost. This is what I could have gained by making the right decisions, or for what I did, or for everything that I did, right? Now, the fourth point why they will regret the decision they made is immigrant families affected. The ACA provided coverage options for millions of undocumented immigrants from receiving benefits. However, many in mixed status family with both citizens and undocumented members still benefit through citizenship, citizen children or spouse gaining coverage. Opposing the ACA risk stripping these gains. Immigrant families will be affected. You understand that? The fifth is health inequalities highlighted during COVID-19. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic revealed significant health disparities in Latino communities, many of which could have been mitigated with more robust healthcare access. The ACA was a step towards addressing such disparities, and its dismantling or weakening lead to worse outcomes for vulnerable populations. The ACA was a step towards addressing these disparities, but what did they do? They didn't see its significance, and now they have to live with that. They have to understand now that this is gone, and it's never going to be the same. Those harsh conditions, health disparities that the Latino community was going through, they'll have to revert back to it. Now, the sixth thing that I'm going to be talking about is the Medicaid expansion rejections. In states that rejected Medicaid expansion under the ACA, many Latinos who could have benefited were left. In states that rejected Medicaid expansion under the ACA, many Latinos who could have benefited were left in the coverage gap. This was especially true for low-income workers and those in states with large Latino populations like Texas and Florida. Realizing they voted for politicians who denied this expansion will spark regret, and it's true. The last point, and why they'll regret the decision they made, is economic hardship without ACA protectionism. Now, for many Latinos, access to healthcare means economic security. Medical debt or lack of treatment options can have devastating financial consequences. The loss or reduction of ACA benefits has heightened economic hardships for families in the United States, especially Latinos who voted against their health, their will, their protection, right? Tell me what you think about this. This is Presenter Jintuk Stories, and I'm hoping to see you in my next video. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.